I'm Jen Williams. I'm a developer at a company called Network Planet. We deal with the technology surrounding linked data. So one of the things I wanted to point out, a lot of the people beforehand have been concentrating on a lot of community engagement, encouraging people to use data. That's very important. I'm going to go slightly more technical in talking about linked data. How's it going? Okay, so we're having a bit of a problem with the slides.
Shall I just leave it on your...
Okay, right. Okay, well, just, yes, yeah, do that. Okay, slight technical hitch. So without the benefit of pretty pictures, first of all, I want to, some people may have heard about linked data, and if you've only heard about linked data as the 4th and 5th levels of open data, then I want you to just forget everything you've heard just for a second, because, well, for 5 minutes actually. So linked data and open data are different things. There was a handy Venn diagram that I was that I liked to draw, that you can have linked data that's open, and there is that sweet spot of linked open data, but they are different things. You can have open data that isn't linked and linked data that isn't open. So first of all, yeah, so I'm going to go over why. I'm going to put this down here so I've got more hands. Sorry, I'm thrown out by the lack of slides.
Thank you very much, Jen, for proceeding.
That's okay, that's okay. I'll find where I'm at. So, so why would we want linked data that isn't open? Let's say we have some survey data, and as our first talk went over, when we're looking for interesting findings, we're usually combining this survey data with other data sets from different sources. You might get it from the government data set, your local Bristol data portal, or you might have another organisation you're in partnership with that you have confidentiality agreements with, and you share your data in order to find new discoveries. So this is what data scientists do all the time. And in order to do this, first you have to go and get those data sets. Then you have to look at the format and change it into a format you can work with. And then you need to look through that data to see what's the context, what's the meaning in that data. Are we talking about the different things or the same things? How can we find the intersections in that data? So in order to do that, like for example, if I've got a data set that mentions wards and another data set that mentions wards, how do I know that that one's talking about an administrative area and that one's talking about hospital wards? Because I've got column headings with wards. This is what linked data solves. It's a way of structuring data, embedding the context of what we're talking about into the raw data. And it does this through the use of identifiers. So instead of using just the name, ward, for something, we would use a universal identifier, which we use on the web so that we're able to publish on the web as open data or shared data. We use universal resource identifiers. And that way we can explicitly state that this data set is talking about wards, the geographical area, and this data set is talking about hospital wards. So first, that's basic. On a basic level, that's all it is. We're going to structure our data in a way and use these identifiers. But there's another step that we need to take, and that is to agree on which terms to use. So what we already do this outside of data. I had a quick Google, and there's various taxonomies that are used in health. One, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, SNOMED, SNOMED, CT, and there's also World Health Organization, ICD, I think. So we already use taxonomies, and shared vocabularies are already out there with the identifiers. So it's exactly the same theory, but applied to data itself by the use of these URIs. So we already have shared and published vocabularies out there, such as Dublin Core Metadata, who publish a set of identifiers for talking about resources. We have FOAF, which is a set of identifiers for talking about people, groups, organizations, and the links between them on communities. And we have the RDF Data Cube vocabulary, which is just about looking at multi-dimensional statistical data. So you can crunch some, merge some data sets that's just purely looking at survey data. And you've got things like the bio-ontology, which actually just took SNOMED, is it pronounced, and translated that into a linked data format of identifiers. So once we have these two data sets, or 10, or 100, or 1,000,000, using the same terms in URI format, you can take data sets and merge them. That process that everyone has to do of getting the data sets, looking at them, thinking, using your brain to work out the context, you don't need to do. It's not an answer to everything. It's a way of taking a bit of your process that's time intensive and getting a computer to do it for you. And that's what linked data does. Whoop. So there was various points of going back to an original picture and then back. So I guess where I want to end, because if you're interested in the real technical parts of that, which I suspect maybe not, I'm not sure, then there's a whole Linked Data 101 series currently in progress on our blog, which is networksplanet.com. So that goes into the real details of what are identifiers and what are vocabularies and what to use. But the main point I think I want to get at is that it's not rocket science, and it really is a simple step. It's a slight paradigm shift, but it's just a simple process of let's all agree to talk in the same terms about data and embedding that into the raw data. And you don't have to do it all at once. It's change the way you work with data, future-proof your data, and do it piece by piece. And that's about it, actually. Sorry about the technical hitch, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jen. I think that the RDF linked data ontology has been used in medicine for a really, really long time. Actually, medicine was one of the first sort of adopters of good linked data schemas, but just in particular aspects of practice. For brevity's sake, because it's quite technical and the time is pushing on, is there anything really pertinent or pressing that people would like to address to Jen now? Or can we move on to the last presentation? And I believe Jen's around after.